The four-year computer science degree just became optional at 26% of data science companies. 26%, and that's just the beginning. Well, college students are racking up an average of $142,000 in debt, learning theoretical foundations. Hiring managers are quietly rewriting the rules. So are you betting your career on the wrong horse? In my 2.5 decades of building software and leading tech teams, I'm watching the biggest shift in hiring I've ever seen. Companies are finally admitting what I've known for a little while here, but it's been kind of even a change in my opinion over the last decade. They don't necessarily need your degree. They need your ability to ship working code. Today I'm breaking down some signs that we're looking at how experience is crushing education in the hiring game and what this means for your tech career. So let's dive into some of this today. Welcome to Startup Hack. I'm Spencer, and here at Startup Hack, we love to train software developers and build custom software solutions for companies. With a decade of executive leadership as a fractional CTO and 25 years of software development, I've mastered transforming tech teams and products. So this is an interesting video for me to make because the me of 10 years ago would have absolutely thrown something at the me of now. The old hiring playbook is dead. While universities are still selling the same education package they did 3 decades ago, the tech industry has moved on. I've sat in countless hiring meetings where we've passed on computer science graduates, and almost never do I see computer science with masters getting hired anymore. And I see them getting hired in favor of this young scrapper who's come along with just a handful of years of experience and a good GitHub repository, right? And so this is one of the things that I'm seeing, that self-taught developers who can build real products and show real experience are beating those with the diploma, right? So let me walk you through exactly what's happening now and how you can position yourself to win in this new landscape. And again, I've shifted my thinking a lot over 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I mean, for the first 20 years of my career, I counseled a lot of youth, get the degree, get the degree, get the degree, get the degree. Over the last 5 years, I've really started to see this shift. Now, companies are quietly dropping degree requirements faster than you can update your LinkedIn profile. 26% of data science jobs postings don't even require a degree anymore, and this trend is accelerating across all tech disciplines. I've personally hired developers who never set foot in a computer science classroom, but could code circles around those who have masters and PhDs. The shift happened because hiring managers are realizing that someone who spent 4 years memorizing algorithms aren't going to necessarily know how to build that using that latest package that you're going to need built. And also, a lot of times their salary requirements are so much higher because they're sitting on a pile of student debt. That's what I was trying to spit out. But when I'm evaluating candidates, I care more about their GitHub contributions than their GPA. And most tech leaders are really starting to think the same way. So smart companies are recognizing that practical skills trump theoretical knowledge almost every single time. So let's take a look, because I promise, guys, I'm not making this up here. So this is the Wall Street Journal. AI is wrecking an already fragile job market for college graduates. Companies have long leaned on entry-level workers to do grunt work that doubles as on-the-job training. Now, I hate the word H, but AI and other bots are doing many of those chores. So what do you hire a 22-year-old college graduate for these days? Now, I'm going to dive into a couple of these things here because it goes through and talks about some of this and talks about where graduates hiring has gone over the last few years. So they say there's been an unwritten covenant between companies and new graduates, and entry-level employees, young and hungry, are willing to work hard for lower pay. Employers in turn provide training and experience to give younger professionals a foothold in the job market, seeding the workforce of tomorrow. Now, this is kind of one of my biggest problems here, guys. I think a lot of this is fairly short-sighted. And I'm going to talk about what Startup Hack is doing, because we are doubling down on going against this trend in a lot of ways. So it's saying AI is accelerating the trend. And, you know, if you've been following my videos, I'm definitely an AI realist. I'm not saying AI is running out there and stealing every job, but we are seeing percentages and movements towards seeing some of this, some impact on this, right? So sectors where graduate hiring is slow the most, like information, finance, insurance, and technical services, are still growing, a sign that employees are becoming more efficient and seeing no immediate downside for hiring fewer inexperienced workers. So, and so we're seeing, like the employers are trying to work on and really push efficiencies, right? Now, after dancing around the issue for 2.5 years, ChatGPT released upended the way almost all companies plan for their future. So this is definitely the case. If now You'd be sticking your head in the sand if you said AI is not impacting hiring. However, I don't think it's quite as bad as everybody's saying, but it has really compounded this problem where the degrees are slowly going away. So this is another article, why your data science degree is becoming worthless and what companies actually want, right? So the uncomfortable truth about your degree. Here's something that nobody wants to tell you. 26% of data science jobs postings don't even require a degree anymore. Let that sink in for a minute. So the guy who goes out and learns how to use AI really efficiently, who becomes an expert at prompt, who learns how to hook everything up using MCP, who learns about functions, who has the latest knowledge on what the latest model is, that guy is going to actually get hired right now faster than the guy with a 4-year degree, or even, heaven forbid, into a master's or PhD. So the harsh reality is that many data science programs focus more on theoretical concepts and principles rather than practical skills. That's the problem that we're seeing here with data scientists, right? And so that's one of the problems we're seeing with that. So the real challenge is finding people who can gather data, prepare it, cleanse, and put their models into production. We're talking about professionals who understand how to query and connect to databases, implement object stores. So again, see, almost nothing here in this list is theoretical. This is all very practical, real hands-on. Now, one of the things I want to tell you about is what we're doing here at Starter Pack, because we definitely understand that we are looking at a world where experience is going to become more valuable than where experience is more valuable than a degree. And this is part of the reason why we have started our registered apprentice program, right? We are actually paying people who don't have experience to start on a path to code their future, right? This is our hashtag, right? Code your future. But this is, part of the thing. I understand that right now it's really hard for people to predict what's going to happen in 5 years. So my advice to some of these younger folks is to jump in, learn this experience. And in this case, if you're in Utah and Idaho right now, we will actually hire you to come in and get training on the job, where we teach you to become a software developer on the job. After you do your training, which usually takes around 3 months to get the initial training, where you're working with a tutor and working through our programs with getting a lot of really good hands-on experience, we then deploy you into an actual client project where you're learning on real time. And I have agreements with clients that where we're deploying these recent interns to then move into this. And one of the best part is, instead of paying to learn, you get paid to learn, right? And this is a great opportunity, and we're having a ton of success with this. I'm deploying this into my own brands as well, and I'm going to talk more about this in the future. So this is how we're actually building real, turned out, well-rounded developers, right? And we're building using some of the latest technologies. So this goes through the whole program. For those that are interested, at starterpack.com/jobs. Again, right now we're only hiring in Utah and Idaho for this. This is where we're working with government officials to get this this approved plan. This plan has been approved in Utah and Idaho. So if you're in those areas, make sure you reach out. And if you know anybody in those areas, reach out to us. So the thing is that entry-level positions that used to require a degree now demand 2 or 3 years worth of experience instead of education, or a lot of them are actually still requiring the degree and education. Recent graduates account for just 7% of new hires in 2024, which is down from 11% in 2022. The job market has essentially created a catch-22 where you need experience to get the degree or to get the job. So I'm seeing companies pass on fresh graduates with perfect grades in favor of boot camp grads who've built actual applications. So let me restate that. If you've gone through a boot camp and you've got real world application where you can show you've been developing for a year, you have a better chance of landing a job right now than someone with a 4-year education. Again, the me of 10 years ago would have thrown something at the me of today, but this is the world we're seeing now. Now, a lot of people are saying that AI is killing the entry-level position. I think part of that is a little bit of market hype around the AI, but the problem is the executives are the ones drinking some of that AI hype. I think we're going to see a hit in the next 3 to 5 years, where suddenly that initial internship level talent pipeline has dried up. And I think as we see that come into the companies, they're going to feel the pinch. And suddenly we're going to have this mass shortage of people that know how to do these. So it's going to create a skill gap, right? Right now, there's another skill gap, though, where universities are teaching students to memorize syntax rather than start to work on real things. That's one of my complaints. Universities need to be focused on helping people build real-world skills, not just memorizing and regurgitating information. What I do think we're going to end up seeing by this, I think we're going to see AI really coming after the universities. I think we're going to see a change. I think we have to see a change. The cost of education has skyrocketed and the value of it is dropping very quickly. Now, I get that there's some fields like medical where I think degrees and all of that will stay for a long time. But particularly where I'm talking about in my field with the STEM, computer science, and a lot of these other type of programs, I think we've got to see more of a hands-on approach and get away from these long degrees. If you look back at what happened, so it took me 5 years to get my degree. I was working full-time, went to school full-time. That's another story for another day. But I did it, and it took me 5 years to get my degree. I worked a minimum of 12 credit hours while working full-time so I could support my family because I had a young family and when I started back to school. And during that time, it took me 5 years to get that degree. So I started in December of 2000 and graduated. I started in January of 2000 and graduated in December of 2005. As I went through that, technology didn't change a ton in those 5 years. Sure, it changed some, but it didn't change massively. If we look at technology the last 5 years, ChatGPT was released 3 years ago. How much has technology changed over the last 5 years? A massive amount. So somebody who started on a degree 5 years ago versus somebody who graduated are going to be very different. The tech world is changing that quickly. Universities will not be able to keep up with this. And this is the reason why I think apprenticeships and registered apprenticeships, if I can spit that word out, and other hands-on type training with on-the-job training is where we're going to have to go. Now, I'm not saying this is just for the hands-on training. I'm saying this is for a lot of other education. I think we really need to reevaluate education, and I think AI is going to be a major disruption in the education space because we're seeing these degree requirements drop so quickly. Technology moves at a startup type pace while universities move at I would even say a committee pace, but like even slower. While you're spending 4 years learning theoretical foundations of statistic inference, memorizing probability and distributions, the industry has already moved on 1,000 models of LLMs during that 5 years. Real learning in tech requires constant adaptation and continuous skill development. So what's the best thing that you can be doing right now if you're trying to get a job? Dive in, work hard, and start learning. I tell developers all the time the best way to start to learn to become a software developer is start writing code. And it sounds so obvious, but at the same time, I'm finding people after person. I spent the last 3 days trying to interview for candidates for a client that I'm trying to place a developer for here, a U.S. developer. And as I've interviewed people, I've been shocked at how many people who passed the interviews the best were the ones that didn't have degrees or only had partial training but went out into the workforce. And that's what I'm finding really quick here. Workers learn the most through experience, and that's what hiring managers right now want. Genuine learning, growth, adaptation. This comes through hard work, not memorizing a whole bunch of concepts. And that's not even to talk about the cost of education. The cost of education right now is staggering. $142,000 is the average amount of student loan debts that people with STEM degrees are coming out of college with. This is unacceptable, and we're going to have to find a way to disrupt that. So I think we're going to see AI majorly disrupt that. Is it going to replace teachers? I don't know. Is it going to replace whole universities? I don't know, but I think we're definitely in a period where we are seeing a big shift, and I'd be curious to hear what you guys think about this. So make sure you leave a comment down below. But the tech industry rewards people who create value, not those who can recite theory. An engineer in a first job used to need basic coding abilities. Now the same engineer needs to be able to detect vulnerabilities and have the judgment to determine what can be trusted from the AI models. Smart developers are positioning themselves as AI-enhanced builders rather than competing with automation. New grads must also learn faster and think critically, skills that come from practical experience, not classroom instruction. The winners in this new landscape will be those who can adapt quickly, solve real problems, and continuously upgrade their skills. This is exactly why we designed our programs around real projects with real clients, because the future belongs to those people who can deliver working solutions. Now, what are your guys' thoughts? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I love to have a great discussion. So make sure you like and subscribe, and make sure you leave a comment down below because I answer all of them personally. Here at Startup Hack, we love to train software developers as well as to build custom software solutions for companies. So reach out because we'd love to help. And here's some great information about some of our services. Hi, I'm Spencer, a fractional CTO. With over a decade of executive leadership and 25 years in software development, I've transformed technology teams and products for businesses just like yours. As your fractional CTO, you get the strategic guidance of a seasoned technology executive without the full-time commitment, perfect for companies ready to leverage cutting-edge technology without expanding headcount. My team at Startup Hack has already built advanced AI agents for small and medium businesses, automating complex workflows and delivering advanced ROI to human workflows. We specialize in creating custom software that connects your systems into a single coherent technology ecosystem. Our development approach focuses on tangible business outcomes. For one client, we developed AI-powered workflows that cut days off of human processes. For another company, by connecting multiple systems, we reduced processing time to increase their ROI by over 75%. We don't just write code, we architect solutions that scale. Whether you need cloud system architecture, data integration between legacy systems, or custom AI agents that automate your unique business processes, my team delivers results that exceed your expectations. Having led technology for a lot of companies and launched 7 successful brands of my own, I bring battle-tested expertise to your business challenges. Our specialty is turning technological complexity into business advantage. So if you're ready to harness the power of AI and custom software to drive your business forward, let's connect. Together, we'll build technology that doesn't just solve today's problems, it positions you for tomorrow's opportunities. Technology leadership, decades of experience, AI powered. Reach out today and we can help you. Check out startuphack.com/Spencer.